we are going to study another chapter of physics, which is light. This is chapter of grade 8. Now, as we all already have studied this chapter, light, in 7th grade, and we know that light is a form of energy which enables us to see. In today's chapter, we are going to study some another characteristics of light and some another phenomena of light. Now, first thing is the introduction of light. What makes things visible? We know that light helps us to see objects, and we cannot see object in dark. Therefore, light is a source of energy which enables us to see. The second property of the light, or the second phenomenon of the light, is reflection of light. Now, reflection of light is when light falls on a polished or a shiny surface, it changes its direction. This is called reflection of light. We see the reflection of light through a plane mirror. We see a reflection of light through cardboard also. So whenever an opaque object comes in the path of light, light always reflects. The third is, now we have seen before proceeding further and studying the laws of reflection, first we need to understand what is incident ray, reflected ray, normal, angle of incidence and angle of reflection. The ray of light which strikes the surface is called incident ray, and the ray which comes back after reflection is called reflected ray. And the imaginary line which we draw at 90 degree to the plane mirror is known as normal. And the angle which normal makes with the incident ray is called incident angle, and the angle which reflected ray makes with the normal is called reflected angle. Now, moving further, laws of reflection. Now, there are two types of laws, and to proceed further, we need to know that what are the two types of laws formed by the reflection of light. Now, proceeding further, there are two types of laws. First is that the angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection, and the second law is the incident ray, reflected ray, normal, and the incident always lie in the same plane. Now, if the angle of reflection is 30, therefore the angle of incidence is also 30. Now, the next is image formed by a plane mirror. Whenever light strikes on a plane mirror, it always forms certain characteristics. Now, the certain characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror are that the image is always erect, the image is of always same size, the image is at the same distance from the mirror as that of object in the front of it. Fourth, the image is virtual, that it cannot be obtained on screen. Fifth is image is always laterally inverted, which means the left appears right and the right appears left. Next is regular reflection and diffused reflection. Now, what does this regular and diffused reflection means? The diffused reflection is also known as irregular reflection. When the parallel rays of the light fall on a smooth surface, the reflected rays are parallel. This is known as regular reflection. But in case of irregular reflection, when the parallel rays of light falls on a rough surface, the reflected rays are not parallel. This is called diffused or irregular reflection. Now, the diffused reflection never forms image, and the regular reflection always form an image. Regular reflection we can see from plane mirror, whereas diffused reflection we see from a cardboard or any rough surface. Now, multiple images. Now, what is multiple images? Whenever we go to a barber or a salon, we see that there are many mirrors kept in front of us and behind us, and we see that there are multiple number of images formed of our head. Now, how does this happen? So, when two mirrors are inclined at an angle, they can together form multiple images. This is because the image formed by one mirror always act as an object for the second mirror. Now, there is a formula also to deduce this, and the formula is if the angle between two mirrors is theta, the number of image formed is 360 divided by theta minus 1. That means, suppose if the angle between two mirrors is 90 degree. Therefore, 360 divided by 90 is 4, minus 1 is equal to 3. So, if the mirrors are like this, the number of images formed by the mirror is 3. Moving on, kaleidoscope. Now, kaleidoscope is based on the principle of multiple images. Now, kaleidoscope is a device which is used to see multiple images of the object. It has 3 inclined mirrors at the angle of 60 degree to each other. This arrangement is usually kept in a cylindrical box and has few pieces of colored glass kept at one end. We can see beautiful patterns and designs due to multiple images formed by mirrors. Moving on, the next phenomena of the light is dispersion of light. We have done this in 7th also, and we know that dispersion of light is splitting of white light into 7 constituent colors. And the 7 constituent colors are Vibgyor: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. And we know that we have seen this dispersion of light in prism also, and the natural phenomena which occurs because of the dispersion of light is rainbow. Moving on, the human eye. Now, the human eye is a sense organ which helps us to see object. Now, in this we are going to study the different parts of the human eye and their functions also. So we have seen we'll talk about cornea, pupil, iris, ciliary muscles, auditory nerve, and retina. Now, what is a cornea? Cornea is a transparent membrane in the front part of the eye from which the light enters. And behind the cornea is a muscular structure which is known as iris, which has an opening called pupil. The pupil controls the amount of light entering into the eye. For example, if the light is very bright, the pupil is contracted. But if the light is very dim, the pupil expands so that maximum amount of light can enter through pupil. Now, the next is ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles helps the eye lens to focus and the image on the retina. And the retina is retina is a kind of screen which obtains the image. Now, the retina has two types of cell called rods and cones. The rods are sensitive to bright light and colors, and the cones are sensitive to dim light. Now, if the owl can see at night, that means the owl is having number of cones. It is having large number of cones. The next is defects of vision. In this we are not going any deep further. We will only discuss about cataract. Now, cataract is a type of defect in the vision in which there is a cloudy membrane which appears in the front part of the eye. Now, this cloudy membrane does not enable old people to see clearly. Therefore, what we do, we do a laser treatment, or we remove that cloudy part of the eye so that the person can see very clearly. The next is care of eyes. Now, how we can take care of our eyes is, if there is any problem in the eyes, we should have a regular checkup and use required spectacles if advised. Too little or too much light is bad for the eyes, and do not look at the sun or very bright light directly because it can damage the rods and the cones. If the dust particles enter the eye, do not rub the eyes. Wash your eyes with clean water. Always read at a normal distance. Do not read by keeping the book too close to the eyes or keeping it too far. Deficiency of vitamin A causes night blindness, so take food rich in vitamin A. We also see that there is another thing. If there is another thing in the defects of vision, one thing is blind for the blind people. So for the blind people, what happens? Either of the thing is damaged. Either the retina is damaged, or either the optic nerve is damaged, or there is damage in the our lens. So what we do for these blind people, we have another type of braille system. The braille system is having a dot pattern in which the dots are raised and they touch it and they sense it and feel it, and they can read the particular sentence. So this is how blind people can read through a braille lippy. We call it lippy because it is a braille text. Now that's all for light chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.